Hey guys, welcome to the 14th episode of Doc Lucky's Yo-Yo Talk. Our 13th episode verified that the number 13 is an unlucky number, as we had our first controversy on the show. Apparently, the executive producer of the show failed to read the question he wrote, and the pop quiz subsequently ended up with the wrong answer to the question. This resulted in an exciting but very disputed ending to the pop quiz. The correct answers for last week were the hesitator, representing helium in the periodic table of yo-yos, not hydrogen as what we thought the answer was supposed to be, and the color yellow for the first yo-yo in space. Many thought that this was silver because of the silver bullet 2, but that went in space in 1992. That happened several years after the Duncan Yellow Imperial went up in 1985 as part of the Toys in Space program. Thankfully, flogging has been outlawed as a punishment in the United States. And although the executive producer reports that he did a little bit of self-flagellation to make amends, he also has indicated that he enjoyed the penalty. So, thankfully, the Nickinator rose to the occasion and answered not only the correct answer first, but the incorrect answer first as well. The gods of the yo-yo quizzes clearly made a statement on who they wanted to win the contest, because I can assume the Nickinator's track record can only be explained through divine intervention. So 48 hours later, the Nickinator appeared at my house, and I didn't see him drive, so I can only assume he levitated here in search of his prize winnings. And this is the cryptic message he left for our other contestants in the show.
Lucky's right. You can never have too many yo-yos. I'll be back.
We have sent this encoded message to the code breakers at the White House Security Council to be deciphered, and now I have, through much effort and a little bit of subterfuge, acquired a copy. Much of this has been redacted, but this part is very clear. Ha, 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 losers. Okay, there you have it, deciphered in full. Now that seems a bit harsh of the Nickinator, but sometimes the truth is more painful than a watered down PC correct version. Actually, I do respect the Nickinator because he saves me a hell of a lot on postage. So tonight on the show, I have an interview with Christopher Kayatz, the engine behind the yo-yo spin company Hspin. Hspin was one of the earlier European yo-yo companies to adopt metal yo-yos for competitive players. That was in Switzerland. And now their models are very collectible, and I learned a lot of good stuff about Hspin that I wasn't aware of. But nothing from Chris on good stock picks or great places to eat in Europe, which was a little bit disappointing. We'll have a lightning round pop quiz right after I go over our prize package for the week. This is assuming that I can pull this stuff off without Sean, my producer, who is in quarantine. I have told him repeatedly, never French kiss wild raccoons that are foaming at the mouth, no matter how cute they look eating a decaying apple snail. I can relate, Sean. I have been tempted myself when I was a much younger man. Plus, we will have all the usual looks at hot auctions and the big prize package pop quiz at the end of the show. And this week, I have double-checked to make sure all the answers are correct, even though I have a little silk cat of nine tails hanging in my closet, waiting to go just in case I screw up again. I can only hope. All this won't make any difference because the Nickinator will probably win it all anyway. Nick, it's official. The United States Postal Service hates you. Don't you follow the news? The post office is hurting, man. Nick, take one for the team, please. We'll see if Nick is going to show a modicum of compassion for our hardworking postal workers later in the show. So let's move on and see what we have in the giant prize package for our pop quiz, which will go off near the end of the show, so keep on watching. So let's talk a little bit about our prize package for this evening. We've got a lot of good stuff here. You can get a little overview there. But let's take a look. As always, we've got a Lucky's Collector's Guide to 20th Century Yo-Yos, and we have a Doc Lucky Yo-Yo. I think everybody will agree with me that Doc Lucky is a real babe magnet, and I'm not talking about the yo-yo there, but it may help some of you poor souls out there that need a little bit of confidence carrying one of those in your pocket. And there's also a copy of the Immune, which I'm pretty certain is banned in China right now, as well as probably the yo-yo, the Immune Core yo-yo. You can only get it here. Oh wait, let's look at these things. Those are early Pro-Yos. That's a set of 4 different designs. Kind of rare. I think that's the first time we've given any of those away. All 4 design sets there, which are kind of creepy looking. We've got a Gell's Big D Trickster Yo-Yo there from the 60s on the card. Also see right next to it here a Bart Simpson Yo-Yo. That is a Spectra Star. Bart Simpson has been around for a lot of years, so that's undoubtedly going to go up in price. Here we've got a Duncan Cross Flags Tournament from the 60s. You can't have a yo-yo collection that is considered to be serious without a Cross Flags Tournament Duncan yo-yo in it, and here's one on the card. There's a nice Sir Duncan spin top from the 60s, and here is a complete set of Fiend magazines. Everybody needs those. I remember back in the day where we had these hidden underneath our mattresses right next to the Playboys and Penthouse magazines. But I wax sentimental. So, if you want to find out what the centerfolds of these were, you'll have to win this prize package. So we've got some other good stuff here. I see a Spitfire. That's probably got a Fiend magazine back on it. Some other good stuff there. Patch. There's an old 60s Duncan yo-yo. So, good stuff here. Let's check out and see what the value of our prize package is for tonight. Okay, there you have it, $218. A nice little prize package to add to all the Nickinator's other prize packages. But you may deny him at the end of the show in the pop quiz. So we will see you then. Good luck to you all. That was a reasonably decent prize package for the Nickinator. And speaking of the Nickinator, the man that yo-yo trivia lovers love to hate, we have another entry in our celebrity yo-yoer contest, and it is from none other than, you got it, the Nickinator. And here it is.
John Rinke here from Netflix Tiger King. Yep, it's me. And I'm here to talk to you about Doc Lucky's Yo-Yo Talk. I haven't played with a yo-yo in a long time. I'm 54 years old. I didn't think I could still yo-yo, but I still got it. Best star in the world promoting Doc Lucky's Yo-Yo Talk. But give Nick a shout out too, because he's the one that found me. Yep, Doc Lucky's Yo-Yo Talk. Y'all check it out. Remember?
Very cool. Now, if you haven't watched Tiger King, it's a must-watch documentary. I loved it. And John was perhaps the only semi-normal person in the entire show. Some of you may be thinking, wait a minute, isn't that a paid celebrity yo-yoer? And the answer is, quite frankly, it looks like it to me, but regardless, congrats to the Nickinator for thinking outside the box. Technically, his entry is legal. An interesting concept. Look at the value of that winning yo-yo, which is a Cold Fusion GT, which is worth several $100s, plus 100 trillion Zimbabwe dollars. And yes, it might actually be worth it to hire a celebrity yo-yoer to win. So now we have 2 entries in our contest, and it will be interesting to see how this goes down from here on out. Celebrity shouts outs for hire, plus an entirely new twist on our celebrity yo-yoer contest. We'll see how it continues. Okay, let's do our lightning round. Let me show you what the Nickinator will probably win tonight. Okay, this is what you guys are going to be playing for in tonight's lightning round quiz. In honor of our special guest, the founder of Hspin Yo-Yos, we are giving away an original Hspin. This is an Envy. This is notable for its strange profile, that H pattern profile. Good luck in finding one of these very collectible yo-yos now for under $100. This is a serial numbered yo-yo. This is 948. Most of Hspin's yo-yos were serial numbered, as you will find out later in the show. But this will show you the profile of the yo-yo. So that is what you're playing for. A very worthy yo-yo, one of our better yo-yos in our lightning round, I do believe. So let's get right into the lightning round question. Hspin did a limited release gold yo-yo celebrating their 10th anniversary. This is the Golden Pyro. It's 24 karat gold anodized on the surface. A limited release of only 50 of these yo-yos were produced. The question is, what year was this yo-yo released? You can either know the year the yo-yo was released, or you can calculate it from the year that Hspin was founded. Good luck to everybody. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, no, I'm right here.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
No, can you hear me on the audio?
On the stream for the audio?
For some reason, I'm not. Okay, I'm live again. All right, sorry about that. Thought I'd lost the audio there. So who do we have? Sean. Sean's doing this remotely. He was going to tell me who the official winner was.
I am. So.
Okay, well, I tell you what, I'm going to move on. I'll tell you after this. We've got, as I mentioned earlier, I've got an interview with the yo-yoing manufacturer legend, Chris Katz. He's the brainchild behind the Hspin yo-yos. You don't need to take notes on this. You can always find this on YouTube or on the Facebook page. So we're going to go right into the interview here with
So everyone,
with Chris.
I've got Chris Katz on the phone with me. He was the engine behind Hspin, and I am saying that right. It is just pronounced Hspin. Is that correct?
Absolutely correct.
Okay.
You're right, Lucky.
So you started the company in 1999, I believe, as I remember. Is that right? Right during the big yo-yo craze, or was it before that?
1997, absolutely.
Oh,
and then
right before the big
1998,
craze.
first yo-yo released, absolutely.
Now, was that the first yo-yo? Was that the Handquake?
Absolutely.
Okay, because I remember the Handquake when it came out. I was trying to find mine, and somewhere it's here somewhere. But that used to be one that I was throwing early on. I really liked the Handquake. It was
Sean is a light
Thank you.
on
really
or
neat.
off?
One of those early metal yo-yos.
No.
And
Is it
Absolutely.
now,
on
did the
or off?
Handquake? I can't remember. I know you have serial numbers on a
Is the
lot of your
blue light
models. They're
highlighted
all
when
with
it's
serial
off, or
numbers.
does it
Did
highlight
you
it
start
when
that
it's
with the
on?
Handquake too?
When it is off. If it's high,
Absolutely. So the Handquake and the second Handquake both have serial numbers continuously. I started that from the very first yo-yo. Absolutely.
Okay, and What got you into deciding to build and design yo-yos? What was the impetus for that?
Absolutely. So through a mail order, I saw the Omega Brain, and I saw somebody perform a trick with a cradle, and I had never seen a free spinning yo-yo. To me, up until when I was 17, all the yo-yos came back because the string was glued to the end.
Right.
And then I walked into a shop, and then I stumbled over a small catalog of Tom Kuhn yo-yos, where suddenly my world opened. Number one, free spinning yo-yos. Number two, ball bearing yo-yos. And I bought many of his yo-yos, ordered them over mail, over the ocean, so to say. It took me 5 weeks every time between I placed the order and they came. There was no such thing as an internet.
That's a lot of delayed gratification there.
No, absolutely. And I just loved them, Lucky. And after a while, I thought I wanted to design my own. And I spent a bit of time finding a machinist, was doing lots of drawings on paper, and eventually I had my first run of 50 handquakes.
So when you were thinking, what's your background? I mean, what got you into designing? Is that your background too?
Not really. So I studied physics at university a long time ago. So yeah, I have an affinity with number, but I did an internship with a company called ABB that is very much into industry, and I learned to play a bit with AutoCAD, and that's how I learned to draw. I've learned with every yo-yo that I've been designing, but that's how I got into the technical designs.
Okay, great. So you started with a handquake. So that was your first one. How many series of did you have different variations or different models of the handquake, or was it just that one I'm thinking of?
Handquake were two different runs. The first one was black and black, 50 pieces. And one of the characteristics is that one of the edges is very sharp. So you could hurt yourself if it hits the back of your hand the wrong way. I corrected that with the second one, which is black and blue. And I was very much into technical details. So the first one was the version 1.4, the second one 1.4b. Call that a bit geeky, but that's the two different versions. 500 in total between these two releases.
So really, the black and blue one was a 450 run, then, right?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. Exactly.
Okay. Well, that's good for collectors, anyway. So
yes.
that black on black is the one to have. I'm going to have to go look. I don't remember what mine was, so I'll have to go back and check on that. Okay. So then, what was your next yo? Was that the Good and Evil that came out after the handquake?
So I was working for a consulting company at the time, and I had to make a break between the handquake and the Good and Evil. So there's what was it? A couple of years, 3-4 years easily in between. And the Good and Evil 1, the very first one, which is also black and blue, was the next release. Then I think in about 2003 it was. And then came the Pyro in 2005. Absolutely. And I made a habit unconsciously, but I don't regret it, of improving every run, not giving every single yo-yo a new name and starting afresh. There was a Pyro, there was a Pyro Light, there was a Pyro 3, and there's a Good and Evil 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right.
And the same thing with the Envy yo-yos. There's several releases to build on what I learned with every release. So that's the sequence.
So at one time you had a registry, didn't you?
Yes, it's offline at the moment, but it technically still exists. Absolutely. And I am proud to say that I have people from 50 different countries registering their serial numbers.
Wow, that's great. So it's up to the individual to register their numbers. You don't automatically register them when you sell the yo-yo, I assume.
No, I didn't have that automatically built in. You have to manually and take the initiative yourself. Absolutely.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. Now, do you know, is there any way that people can find what the runs, because the collectors like that, they, like how many of the Envy were produced or how many of the Good and Evil 4 were produced? Do you have any records like that around?
I do, and I'm very happy you asked me, because I have something in my mind that I wanted to do, Lucky, which is, if you know from zoology, you know how different species evolved into different kinds.
The taxonomy, yes.
Exactly. I'd like to build that and show all the different releases and show which model came from which one.
That would be really neat.
and show how many of each were made. So you know what? I take it on me to do that. It shouldn't take
Okay,
too
well,
much time.
we're going to hold you to that then, because
Do that,
that is,
absolutely.
I mean, in the collecting world, that is a really cool idea. I mean, I can see that as a really nice poster. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I hope you will do that. That is when you do it,
I'll-
let me know. We'll definitely put that on the show and
Awesome.
let everybody know it's out there. So you
Lucky,
don't
I'll
have
let
any,
you know.
you don't have any runs right now of anything going on or any projects yo-yo wise? No, now you have a project. We've just given you a project, but do you have any
Yeah, exactly.
any things working in the back of your mind saying, "Hey, I'm going to start doing this"?
So again, in 2013, for professional reasons, I had too little time for yo-yos, and I mothballed Hspin for a while. About 1.5 years ago, I had the itch to do something again. And later on this year, 2020, you're going to see a rerun of the Handquake. Actually, I'll go back to the
Okay.
roots in that sense. So, and do a proper Handquake 2, which is on one hand using modern machining and picking up many of the design elements I learned along the way from the Pyro and many other yo-yos. But it is, let me say, an old school yo-yo. The SB2 inspired me to do the very first Handquake. And if you look at them closely, you see the similarities.
Right.
So in that sense, it's a bit of a back to the roots kind of thing. And yes, that is in the making at the moment. It's anodized, it's lasered,
That's
and
great.
basically ready.
Well, when you're saying it's out, we're ready to release it. You let us know, and we'll be happy to promote it on the show to let
Excellent.
everybody know it's out there. That's exciting news. So hey, I'm
Thanks,
glad
Lucky.
you were able to share that with us. So cutting edge stuff here on Lucky's Yo-Yo Talk. Let me
Exactly.
throw up a couple of yo-yos here.
Please.
Can we go to the triple screen there, Sean, and so he can kind of see this? Let's see. This is a Pyro. The lighting here is not very good.
Yes, is that the
Now-
golden one?
Yeah, it's the golden one. Any interesting stories about the gold Pyro there?
Yes. So the Pyro, I want to say, was the most successful yo-yo we made ever.
Oh, really?
In many aspects. First, in quantity that there was demand for. Secondly, a couple of things were a novelty, like the gap side flame laser engravings. I think it was the first yo-yo that had the bearing seat on the aluminum half in plastic that existed, but not in metal. And as it was so successful, the yo-yo you're showing there, Lucky, is a 10-year Hspin anniversary. It should be from the year 2017. And we
see if
thought,
the-
you know what? Let's do a 10-year
Yes.
anniversary.
Yes, the 2007 10th anniversary. It looks like. Yeah, very cool.
Exactly. So that's a 10-year anniversary and 24 karat gold plated. We had it
Oh, okay.
at
So
the
it is a gold
2007.
plated yo-yo then.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
And so, how many of these did you make? Was that a special run then, I assume?
50 pieces. That
Just 50? Oh, man.
Yes.
I had no idea. I was hanging on to a piece there that was so rare there. Oh, and
Yes.
number 13, too. Lucky 13.
one. Excellent. Good on you. I think you that's a sought after one.
Envy, looks like says 64 on it. It must not be right.
Yes.
Envy
Yes. And I know.
64? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
So that's the second Envy. So if I do the zoology tree, Lucky, that one will be the second one in the Envy branch, so to say.
Oh, here,
The
I got
first
it.
Envy was 74 grams and like the Pyro, quite heavy. But then players wanted lighter yo-yos, tricks became faster, and the 64 stands for the weight. It's 64 grams in weight.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
And the Envy was one of the first H profile yo-yos. If you look at the gap, it has a distinctly different look to it. And that one played very fast, very light. The Russian champion that year, I think it was also 2007 or something like that, won with that yo-yo, I'm proud to say.
Oh, okay,
And
great.
yeah,
It's good to know. And what kind of run did you have on the Envy? Just curious. This model here.
roughly 500 pieces.
500. Okay.
Yes, exactly. You'll see it on my zoology chart, but yes, 500 pieces on that one.
I'm looking forward to seeing that chart. Let's see what else we got here of yours. This is Icon. Is that yours?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. That's one of the latest ones then.
That's there's a lot to say about that yo-yo. Maglito or Stefan from the United Kingdom was one of the players that we sponsored. He competed in the United Kingdom, made several times top 3 spots in the UK. And after 2009, I opened, let me say, the design restrictions a little bit, and I allowed people from the team to co-design yo-yos. And that one has been largely influenced by Stefan, or Maglito, as he was called with on the boards. It's actually made in India. I realized that for many players, and first of all, many yo-yos started to be produced in China. I chose not to go to China. I chose to go to India. I had many business relationships with great people in India and produced yo-yos in India. So that's the Hspin Core series, much more affordable. And how many pieces were made? I reckon about 300, 250 or 300 of that one, if I'm not mistaken.
Now, I noticed that's not, that doesn't have a serial number on it, but I do see it's Stefan's signature.
Correct. So Stefan is Maglito.
Okay, so that would be his signature yo-yo. Then.
Exactly,
okay.
exactly. So the design was influenced by him. The India-made yo-yos didn't have the serial numbers. That's a feature I kept for the Swiss-made Hspin brand yo-yos.
Okay, that's good trivia to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Well, let me throw up another one here. I've got a.
I'm curious.
Another pyro. This is I must be the original pyro, I assume.
Yes. Can you show me in the gap perspective? Yes, that is one of the very, very, very first ones. The red ones were the first run of 500 pieces. I still have lots of pictures of when we assembled them in a home of a friend of mine in Zurich. And the subsequent ones were red and orange or different color combinations. So yes, that is the very first release.
So that had a 500. Let me see what the serial number is here. This is 27, so pretty low. Do you find that that collectors really care? I mean, beyond say 10. Does that really seem to make a difference? Has anybody talked to you about that? Because I've always wondered when you do get these serial numbered yo-yos, if there really is kind of a, is there a difference between 56 and 370?
So yeah, two things to that question. First of all, let me say, Switzerland produced yo-yos are relatively expensive. So to make them affordable for an American juggling shop and the American buyer, we couldn't add a lot of margin. So sometimes we only had 10 or 20% margin on top of that.
That's small.
And just to compensate that a little bit, we sold a few yo-yos directly over our web page. That was never the majority, but to make it a bit interesting for players, Lucky, we allowed people to reserve serial numbers before the yo-yo was released.
I didn't know that.
We picked those out of the lot and then shipped them directly to customers. And those were typically the single digits, the double digits, or the lucky numbers.
Right.
88, 13, and so forth that were popular there. Yes.
All right. Well, hey, Chris, hey, man, thanks so much.
Lucky, thank you for having me.
A lot of great information, and I really appreciate you spending the time. And enjoy your evening, and keep on throwing.
Okay, great. That was a nice interview. I'll just say this. We finally got down and figured out who won the lightning round, and it was Rick Rentz. So congratulations, Rick. Strong work on that. And we're going to jump right into the hot auctions of the week, or not.
Doc Lucky's Flaming Hot Auction Picks of the Week. Number 3, Hot Pick of the Week.
These are Pokemon Gumball Yo-Yo prizes out of a Gumball machine. They're round yo-yos. They have a little rounded window with the Pokemon different symbols in there. They have a little plastic axle, very poorly playable. They were out in about 2000, I think. I remember sitting in front of a gumball machine, sticking quarters in, and finally the guy at the cash register, which I kept going back for change, said, look, I've got them in the back of the store in sacks. I'll sell them to you for a quarter each. And so that was a lot easier. So I've got the entire set, but it's kind of cool. And this will set you back about $3 each in this auction, but it is a cool item. And this was the thing that ended the yo-yo craze in 1999, Pokemon.
Number 2, hot pick of the week.
This is a 1950s, 60s Duncan Giant Award yo-yo. It is very cool. That seal on this yo-yo is in really good condition. It's hard to find these with great seals. And the other special thing about this yo-yo is that it has that shiny metallic varnish finish, which you just don't see that often. This is in excellent shape, and I think the price range is very reasonable for this yo-yo. If you can get it at the starting bid of $125, certainly a great deal. I suspect it will go for much more than this, so good luck to everybody in this auction.
Number 1, hot pick of the week.
This is an extremely rare Duncan paint variation. This is the splatter paint version on the Duncan Super. The only problem I have with this particular yo-yo is that the seal is very faint. You can see it. It is definitely a Duncan splatter paint. The splatter paint looks great. It's just the seal does not show up that well. The minimum price, I think, is a little high considering the faintness of the seal, but if you don't have a splatter paint, these are rare. So think about it.
Mr. Bandalore's scorching score of the week.
This is the Kodak yo-yo, made famous by Tommy Smothers in his yo-yo video back in the 80s on how to yo-yo. And it's signed by both Tommy and his brother, which is a little bit unusual. The signatures are very strong on this. I put this up because I bid on it and I didn't win the bid. So I would have to say this was the scorching score of the week since you outbid me on this yo-yo. Congratulations to whoever won this auction.
Nasty, nasty dog of the day.
This is a wind orbit. This is basically just a Duncan Speed Beetle made into a different Bandai yo-yo to be sold in Japan. Nothing too spectacular about the price, a fairly common yo-yo. But check the shipping out. A little bit on the high side. So anyway, I looked at another site to see what they were charging for shipping, and look at this. So it turns out that I don't mind selling my yo-yos for $1 each as long as you pay these shipping charges. Okay, well, that's we're about getting ready to wrap up the end of the show, but we still have the final thing, which is the Giant Pop quiz. So we're going to jump right into that. I hope everybody's ready to go. It was an exciting lightning round, and we'll see what happens. I have double checked my answers for tonight, so I know what I'm looking for. Okay, here we go.
Doc Lucky's Pop Quiz. One shot, one champion. First to answer both questions in the Facebook comments wins. Get ready.
What word appears on the 1999 release of the Duncan Jeweled Wood Tournament that is not on the original? That's an original one shown there to the right. And what year did the Omega Brain get released? All right, we'll chew on that for a minute and see as the answers start popping in. See where the Nickinator is at on this pop quiz. Again, what word appears on the 1999 release of the Duncan Jewel Wood Tournament that is not on the original, and you are looking at the original one off the right-hand side? And what year? I'm getting comments coming through, nothing yet. What year did the Omega Brain get released? Okay, we're still getting answers in, so I'm going to be looking down here, seeing those come in. I've seen a couple, I believe, of the dates correct now, but
but we don't have that first part.
you're way off the first part. I think somebody needs to get that reproduction Duncan Jewel yo-yo and just take a look at it.
We got a winner.
Hey, we got a winner. It is. Oh, the Nickinator wins again. Apparently, he was the first one to actually go pick up the yo-yo and look at it. It says vintage on it. The original one obviously doesn't say vintage because it's not vintage. It was the original yo-yo. And I'll tell you a little mini story here on that. They asked me at Duncan if they could have a sample of an original yo-yo when they were getting ready to make these jeweled yo-yos. And I said, well, yeah, but how are you going to do it? And they said, we're going to make the identical seal. And I said, you're going to completely devalue any collectible yo-yos out there if you do that. I said, please designate it some way so it's easy to tell these apart. And they said, well, what about putting vintage on there? And we all agreed that was wonderful, and they did. And so that keeps the value of the older ones up. And then you have a completely new collectible with the vintage, which now is turning into an older collectible yo-yo. So anywho, congratulations to Rick Rentz, who won the lightning round, and to the Nickinator again for another amazing win. Next week, we have Mike Burke on, who's the general sales manager, marketing director for the Duncan Yo-Yo Company. He's going to let us know what's going on with Duncan, and he'll be there to answer questions and all kinds of good stuff. I've heard there may be another entry in the Celebrity Yo-Yo Contest, so we'll see more about that. And maybe we'll start looking at that mystery box. I still haven't opened it. It's supposed to be worth $250. We'll see what's up with that. So we'll see everybody next week. Remember, you can never have too many yo-yos, and keep on throwing, and I'll see y'all next Thursday evening.